Hey guys, Bazzy back here, and in today's video we are going to be checking out another retro NHL game, today that being NHL 11. So for me, like I said in the NHL 12 video, that was really the first game personally that I'd play all the time, and hockey really became my main game. NHL 11 was a different case. I played it on and off. I actually played it on the PlayStation 3. That was the only NHL game I've actually played on the PlayStation. And then ever since, I've just been on Xbox. Man, remember this intro? Taves scoring on, I believe it was, Jonas Hiller? Man. You only see it for like 5 seconds there, just being an intro, but they are very, very cool nonetheless, and is something I definitely remember from some of these older titles. I know a lot of them had something similar to this, whatever, regarding their own cover star. But let's see, where does this take us from here? Are we creating be a pro? I'm actually very confused here. Michael Pillar? Sure, let's just go for it. Not going anything too crazy in depth here. I'm not sure if this is a tutorial, or to try and get us to create our EASHL player. I know that was new, I believe, to this game here in NHL 11, so I'm honestly not too sure what's going on here. I guess this is what was the game's tutorial back in the day, instead of just jumping you into a game and take a snapshot. I don't remember doing this at all. Another snapshot, now we're taking a slapper. I do like that it keeps track of the speed of the shot, that's pretty cool. Yeah, we have another drill. How long does this go on for? I do not remember doing this at all. I must have just skipped through it somehow. This is something, honestly, I'd love to see this just come back for like a skills comp in franchise mode. Like, you literally already have one of the contests right here, and you have the slap shot one that can measure speed. So just put it back in, make it a small event, something like that. We have another drill. How many of these things do we have? What the heck? Let's quit out of this here. We don't want to be doing a tutorial the whole time. But it is very cool. It's different than most games, which I do like. Looks like we have our Be a Pro player card. What's this now? Oh, I guess this is the introduction to this game? With the Hawks. Oh, so this is talking about the new mode of Hockey Ultimate Team. Normally I would skip this, but since we can't actually get into HUT now, I'm gonna let this video play a bit here, just so we can kind of see what HUT was like back in the day. This was the first year that Hockey Ultimate Team has been in a video game, and you look at it now in 2024, to really where it is the most prioritized mode basically in modern NHL titles, just because they bring in so much money from packs and everything like that. It's crazy. This is where it all started. And they had contracts back in the day. Drew Doughty had a career limit. Your card would literally just retire. After you get to a career limit, that would be it. That was only 1 year, I believe, the first year HUT, that was the thing, and after that they took it out. I remember always flipping guys. Like, I remember I had a Chris Pronger. I think he was like 90 overall with no career, and I'd get like 100k for him. It was crazy back in the day. And obviously you had contracts, which they took out a couple of years ago now. You had the training cards, where younger players could be trained up. They had a certain amount of slots depending on their age and potential, I believe. Those were the two factors. And with that, you could upgrade on those cards. So yeah, you have the training slots there as it shows, and the potential. So that's basically how much you could boost your players in HUT. Probably an unpopular opinion, but I actually did like when this was in the game. I don't know. I get why they took it out. Obviously they want to just keep releasing higher overall cards, so people spend money on packs and they're chasing all those higher overalls. So I get why they took it out, but yeah, it was a feature I didn't mind. Going on to collections here, again, I think more or less they work similar to how they do in current day Hockey Ultimate Team. I remember you could always do the trade-in sets if you collected everybody on a certain NHL team. And the rewards back in the day were like insane. You used to get so many coins and so many packs, and it was awesome. Moving on here to EA's favorite, the HUT store. I'm not sure if it's just because it's like a trailer video, but in that screen there, it didn't look like you could actually pay real money for packs. I'm assuming that's just something because it's a trailer. If not, for sure it was added in the next game, so they can definitely monetize that, which they've been doing for years and years now. And then you had the trading and bidding. Again, it's exactly more or less the same how it worked. But this was really, it was revolutionary for its time, just being able to bid on a player and just offer trades and stuff. Obviously nowadays we It's just normal if you play Hut. It's pretty standard. But yeah, that was really, really cool. I really do miss the more simpler versions of Hut for sure. Definitely didn't expect to be able to actually see kind of what Hockey Ultimate Team was like, but I like that they added that trailer in there so we can kind of get a sense of, you know, how it was during its first year. Let's move on here, and how we always start, let us go to the EA tracks. This was such an iconic soundtrack. You had Shipping Up to Boston, you had The Final Countdown, you had Sandstorm, just so many great songs, Twilight Zone. This was a very, very good soundtrack. Probably one of the better ones of any game. That might be controversial, but I loved the soundtrack. It was so, so good. But moving on from that, what is this My Pro? I guess this is just the EA SHL player, or maybe your Be a Pro, I'm not too sure. So you have all your different game modes here. More or less everything's the same. Tournaments, it just had the MasterCard Memorial Cup, that was it. Create a Play, obviously we looked at that in the last video, I believe it was. Let's go jump into a GM mode here, as we always do. So what is this? The NHL Intro Drafts. Oh, that's kind of cool. You could pick your starting date of where you wanted to, at the regular season or the draft. I don't even think we can do that now, if I'm being honest. You got all the different teams here. You can look at the overalls. Oh, we definitely got to be the Thrashers. Definitely the last year here before they moved to Winnipeg. So why not? Let's choose them as our team here. I'm going to skip ahead till we're in the mode, and then we'll take a look at everything that Be a GM had back in 2011. That took an absolutely outrageous amount of time. I'm glad I ended up skipping that here for you guys. Literally waiting for probably 4 or 5 minutes for that to create my file. So looking at everything here, we had the GM tracker, just like all these old games. Love the reputation system. You could really like keep track of all your records, upgrade your scouting and your medical staff, all that kind of thing. Was very cool. Let's see who the upcoming free agents here are. Since we started at the draft, we can't see who is just a free agent at the moment. But you have guys like Ilya Kovalchuk, Paul Kariya, Teemu Selanne. Look at all these names. Wow, that is something else. What else do we have here? More or less, I think everything else is the same. That was in the older games, and a lot of it you still see in current games. What is this here? So jersey numbers, obviously, that's... What is player types? Oh, so you could just, instead of going and editing a player, you literally could just change their player type just like that. They have Tough Guy. That's kind of cool. I don't remember that at all in franchise mode. Interesting. And then player training. I briefly remember this. Yeah, you could kind of see what you want them to work on in the off season, or just when they did their workouts, whatever it was. That's kind of cool as well. I don't really know how much that actually affects them when it comes to growth and just keeping their overalls, but still kind of cool nonetheless. So we're at the NHL draft. I don't think I've actually jumped into a draft in one of these older videos, so why not do that here today? May as well. I can show you guys the older draft screen and we can go through all of that. So this is what the old drafts look like. You didn't really have where you could just go pick to pick. Oh, and we actually have a couple of trades here, interesting, coming in on the BlackBerry phones. So we're giving up Eric Bolton for Sergei Samsonov. Why not? Let's do it for sure. Carolina will take that. And then in the Oilers, they're offering us Dustin Penner for Johnny Oduya. Oh, I'm 100% doing that deal. So, yeah, you couldn't just go side to side and look at everyone's picks. But yeah, it was just a little bit more of a simplified draft screen. Going down the list here, I don't know if I recognize any of these names here. Like, nobody whatsoever. My guess would be that since we started at the NHL draft, that the real one that would have just happened, I guess, whenever in game, they probably took all the players from that draft and just assigned them to the team. So these are all the players that I guess didn't get drafted. Because you can see there's a lot of people that have real game faces here, I guess. Just players that didn't end up making it in the long run. So we'll just go the 2 guys that are more or less recommended to us. But that's more or less how the NHL draft worked. You had your phones in between rounds, you could make trades and stuff. And depending on your GM rep and all that stuff, you had more phones or less phones. So definitely like the system we have current days, but you know, it wasn't bad for its time back in the early 2010s. But now here up to the contract screen. Again, I don't think I've really gone through this at all in any of these retro videos, so you can take a look at it here. May as well sort this by players who need contracts. We have Clark MacArthur at 25 with a C potential. Like, you just go, it's the exact same thing. You see your salary cap on the bottom, off your different years, and then I would either take it or leave it. Just going through, there's Alex Burmistrov. I'm guessing he's one of the players that might be in that draft. No, he's from 2010. Yeah, I'm actually not too sure about the draft thing then. But yeah, again, it's more or less just how it is in current games. Andrei Pavlik, Peter Menino, some Jet legends right there. But really, other than that, I think that's going to probably do it for GM mode. More or less everything else we have gone through in previous videos, and you've probably heard me talk about this quite a few times now to this point. So then now let's just go take a look at some of the rosters, some of the leagues. We normally start with that, but obviously the NHL, the AHL, I'm guessing that was the SHL, you have the Liga, the Dell, you have the O2 Extraliga, I don't know why it's O2, the National League, the national teams, and then once again all the 3 various junior leagues. But yeah, let's just kind of go through some of these rosters. It does kind of suck that you can't sort by overall, I hate that. Bergeron and 82, wow. But yeah, you can just go down the list, and yeah, Ginla at 92 was still in his prime at this point. Looking at the Stanley Cup winning Chicago Blackhawks, I believe their dynasty was right around this time. Shout out to John Scott at a 79 overall. Not even an enforcer, just a defensive defenseman. Some choices there. Let's go look at my Bolts here. Who do they have? Steve Downey, Dan Ellis, a very young Victor Hedman, wow. Vinny LeCavalier. Yeah, that's crazy. A very young Stammer. It would have just been drafted 2 or 3 years prior to this game. Yeah, it's crazy. I think I have the same reaction every single time we go through rosters of one of these old games, but yeah, just every time it gets me. And then yeah, you had your Be a Pro, I guess NHL Be a Pro, I don't really know what that was at the moment, and then yeah, you have your 2 new modes. So I think the last thing we have to do here is just jump into a game. I'm probably one of the last people that you would want to ask if gameplay is good. I'm being honest, I really actually don't jump into games all that often. I just mess around in franchise mode and rosters and all that stuff, but we will try it out here. Let's just go with a rematch of the Stanley Cup Finals, going with the Hawks and the Flyers. Once again, we have the just classic loading screens. I kept these in for many years, but let's jump into a game here. I think the intros are the same. We'll check it out here quickly if they were the same as an NHL 12 or whatever. These were really cool though, still back in the day. Like, I've said it again multiple times, I really do like what they have in current games, but just seeing everyone in the tunnel, seeing them all come out, these actually might be different intros. These are pretty cool, panning to the crowd. Yeah, they were very cool for their time. Not complaining what we have now, I do like what we have, but these are just really cool. So let's jump into some gameplay here. You can already tell it feels quite a bit slower than even some of the games I think around this generation, even like the NHL 12, whatever, like you can just tell it's just very much on a slowed down pace here. Which again isn't necessarily a bad thing, that totally comes down to personal preference, whether you like a quicker game or you like the more controlled and just having it a little bit more slow. Huge save there, wow, what a rebound save there on Hossa. So yeah, again, it's more or less the same as a lot of these games. I do think it is a little bit more slow than NHL 12, 13, somewhere in that. I'm not too sure. It's been a while since I've really jumped in and played a lot of these games, but I think that's going to do it here for checking out NHL 11 in 2024. Again, I really do like checking back on these older games. It always does leave me with a good amount of nostalgia after recording one of these videos. But yeah, I think that is going to do it for today's video. The next one we will be jumping into NHL 10 as long as I can get it working. But until then, I'll see you all in the next video.